I'm Jenna.
And I'm Tosh.
And we are thrilled to be here with you again this week. And we have a special surprise guest.
Yeah.
Surprise!
Surprise! Poor Chris didn't know that he was coming on the show when he came to help me work on some sound when he got here, but he got weaseled into the show today. We have Chris Colepaugh with us, and you may remember season 1, maybe?
Early on in season 1, one of our first guests, I think, actually, was Chris's wife, Lynn. Back when we recorded at your kitchen table.
Yes.
We have moved up. If you are now watching us on video, you can see that we are in a studio. And if you are watching us on video, the studio is probably going to change again soon.
Yeah, we'll have
Just
some
so you
exciting
know.
news next week, probably.
And if you're listening to the podcast and didn't realize that we are on video, go find us on YouTube, go find us on the Rogers New Brunswick page or through the Pickle Planet page so you can watch all the videos. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Because then we put people in the hot seat like Chris.
Yeah.
100%.
So we brought Chris on the show today because when we talked to Lynn about parenting with a spouse that's on the road or works away, etc. Chris has toured all over the world with his own band and with Rock Voisine and with Big Sugar. And so we're going to talk to Chris today about what it's like on the other side, parenting on the road.
Yeah.
So you, Lavinia is the same age as my oldest.
Yeah, 8.
She's 8 now. Sarah's still 7. I'm riding that wave.
I wish I could.
Yeah, trust me, 8 going on 9 is a whole different story.
I know. 7 to 8 was bad enough.
Yeah.
It just
going on
keeps
45.
keeps getting better, folks.
So when Lavinia was really young, you would go on tour.
Yep.
When did you start, or when did you stop touring? Was she was like, 7.
No.
7
This,
would have been when you,
This year is when this December was the first time I actually took a break that I was actually home at Christmas.
Wow.
Before, I'd usually get home just around like the 22nd, 23rd, do Christmas. And then if I was not lucky, be back out again.
If you're not lucky, exactly. So let's maybe start with, you've always wanted to be a musician.
100%.
So you knew, fingers crossed, that this was someday going to be your life.
Yeah, for sure. It's always been a passion of mine. And obviously with my wife being part of the band, both of us, if we're going to continue doing the dream this way, we couldn't do the other dream of having children or a family because that requires at least one parent to be home, to stop doing what they're doing. Because you both can't be on the road in a traveling circus, which that's what rock and roll life is. So I've always wanted to be it, but I've always wanted to have a family and do that as well because I came from a really strong family values family. My father was a school teacher. My mom, she was a real estate agent. So my parents were always, my father was home more than we were. He taught out in Hillsborough. So if they did anything on the roads, schools were closed. So he'd be home. He'd be our captain of entertainment.
Yeah, captain of entertainment,
love it.
yeah.
That's my dad. That was my dad. So when we decided to have a family, it came from a bunch of twists and turns where I got sick in 2005 and both Lynn and I realized that we needed to kind of diversify a bit because we had all our eggs in one basket. And that basket was our rock and roll band, which we toured, which was great. But at that moment when I got sick, we realized that if I got sick or something happened to one of us, it would kind of stop. So we needed to figure an alternative plan. So hence, Lynn started her cyber PR. I started doing session work, which then started taking me away. But then we were like, we now had a home, we had a place. We were like, now it's maybe time to start a family. So then that's when we did. We thought this was a great time. We were both older and wiser, and we weren't living in a van down by the river.
I knew that blue van was going to work its
I
way
was just
into
going
the
to say,
story.
I
Originally
seem to
it was
recall
green
it's a
one.
pretty big van.
It is. And we've had 2 of them, and I've lived in both of them. We all have.
We all have.
It's funny, the first one, I remember because when I bought it, it was in 1999. It was an 87. It was a camper one, so it had a top on it. And we put everything, because we were going on the road for 4 months. It was our first Canadian tour, and we were going all the way from Moncton to Los Angeles for 4 months. And so we put everything, pots and pans and stuff, because it had all these little nooks and crannies you could hide stuff. And so I remember when I finally got rid of that one, when it finally died, I remember cleaning it out and being like, oh my Lord, there's like a whole kitchenette set in here. Like, where's that coming from?
And you probably never cooked in it, did you?
No, we slept in it a lot. Well, the funny thing is, Lynn, my wife, she's amazing. And she could get deals for days. So when we started in the States, she discovered these coupon books because we had planned on, we were touring all the way down to California, so we thought, well, we'll just camp, sleep in the van, and find camping spots. Anyway, we got into a McDonald's, and there was this coupon booklet, and it was for basically each of the states as it went along. So we picked up one for when we got into Seattle, and we were like, okay. And it was like $25 for 4 people to stay at, some shitty places. But nonetheless, it was a roof over our head.
Still not the camper.
It wasn't the van. And, a clean shower. And, when you get on the road, I'll tell you, there's only a couple of comforts that you want. A clean shower, a clean bed, and a clean toilet. You'll suffer through everything else.
Yeah.
The blood stains on the carpet. Well, yeah, whatever. I'll just ignore that. Wear your boots.
Wear your boots,
That's
exactly.
what boots are made for.
Yeah.
I've done full sleeps and full jackets and sacrifice T-shirts for pillows. In some of the places I've stayed. Yeah. So all that to be said, yeah, this is all what I've wanted to do, and then now we've wanted to raise a family, and we had to kind of come to a pinnacle point where one of us had to kind of come off the road for a little bit.
I can remember, we started hanging out, I think, when our girls were like 3, 2.5-ish, 3.
Yeah.
And I can remember you guys going on tour when Lavinia was young. Both of you went out and went on tour. And I remember Lynn coming back and being like, nope. Yeah. Not
poopy.
happening.
It's poopy, man. And it's even harder, like, as she got older, I'd be packing my luggage, and at that time I was working a lot with Rock Was In, so we were doing month to 2 month long tours of Europe. And so I'd be packing for that kind of extended stay, and then I'd be packing my luggage, and she'd be unpacking my luggage and getting into it, and I'd be like, this is the worst thing to do, because she doesn't want me to go. I don't want to go, I got to go because that's how I make my living, but, by the same token, I want to watch my daughter grow up. I want to meet a stranger at 20, which a lot of my friends have, and it's not fun.
I was going to say, you must have had that kind of experience to be able to see what some of these other musicians were
100%.
living with their lives and trying to figure out what parts worked and what parts didn't.
And unfortunately, a lot of it, if you don't have the right people involved, and I'm very fortunate to have Lynn, who has toured with me and seen the other side, and she knows what it's all about, and she understands the whole workings of it. But so many of my friends getting divorced, all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person. And that's where I've come to in my life at this point, at my age. I'm like, I want to spend that time and invest it in my daughter, because I don't know how long I'm going to be around or how long she's going to want to be with me. You know what I mean? It's reality. I mean, she's 8. I probably got another 8 years, maybe, realistically, before.
Yeah, maybe.
Give me the keys, Dad.
Yeah.
And that's about the size of it. So, yeah. So I want to invest that much more time, because of, that's all we got. It's time.
So when you were away on tour, what are some ways that you guys kept in contact?
Skype, and I'll tell you this, because right when I started heavily, when we started in '99, cell phones didn't really exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had a bag phone, a 3-watt bag phone. It could make one call to 911 if we were in trouble. That was about it, really.
Yeah.
It was this massive thing.
Yeah.
And we borrowed it from my mom's boyfriend at the time. And that technology has come so far, and thankfully so, because I don't know how the guys did it like 30, 40 years ago, because it was literally writing to your family, A, B, telephone calls long distance, which were ridiculous. But for me at the time, when I started, especially heavily being away from the family, the internet was getting better, Skype and stuff was happening, so I was able to at least audio Skype at the time. Video was shaky because the internet over in Europe was shaky, very shaky. Like, we were hijacking it. We stayed in this hotel, it's a Holiday Inn, but we always called it, because it was always in repair, so we called it the Holiday Inn Repair. And the internet was so horrible, it didn't work. Like, it literally didn't work. And I remember the keyboard player for the band having a discussion with the front desk lady, and he's like, the internet, something's wrong with it. She's like, yeah, it's free. He's like, yeah, I know, but it's broken. It doesn't work. She's like, yes, sir, but it's free.
Yeah.
He's like, but if it's free, it
should work
It should work,
still.
Yeah.
but it doesn't. So anyway, some guy, somewhere close in the vicinity, had a router that was like unlocked. Poor fella.
Yeah.
Because every band, I swear, that went through the Holiday Inn Repair in Paris, jacked his internet.
Yeah.
And that's what saved us, because I was able to call home, and as the internet got better, then I was able to Skype and see, my daughter and my wife, and at least have that connection. Because, man, a month away is long.
Especially when they're babies, like, so much
Oh.
changes in a month.
That's it, man. Teeth come out, walking, talking.
Well, and-
even the birth. Like, for me, my daughter was supposed to be born on the 9th of February. And just prior to going in, we did the tour of the hospital, and at the end of the tour, I said to the woman, I was like, do you guys have internet here? And she's like, well, yeah. Why? I'm like, well, there's a strong possibility that I won't be here. Can we bring a computer in and Skype the thing? And she's like, well, I can't see why not. It'd never really been done. She was like, if, as long as there's no complications, nothing gets weird, we're good. So we were like, okay. So sure enough, I got home. I was home the 9th to the, I got home the 4th to the 10th or something like that of February. She was supposed to be born on the 9th. We tried everything, all the wives' tales. I held her by her legs. We had spicy food. Nothing worked. The 10th, I flew out. I was like, this is no good. And so, it's my firstborn. I don't know if I'm going to have another one. All these things are going through my head. So anyway, come to the 14th. It was the Monday night. I just got into my time, Quebec. Lynn called me. It was 1 a.m. She's like, I think it's happening. I'm like, oh, my Lord, you got to be kidding me. So sure enough, it does. They get into the room, the birthing room, put the camera, our big old laptop on a pedestal, and I'm like watching Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Except I know everybody in the room.
Yeah.
And it was surreal because I was sitting there. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting in this hotel watching my wife give birth to my daughter.
Wow.
And
my goodness.
when the baby finally came out, the doctor was so hip. He looked like David Crosby. So cool. When I saw him, I was like, David Crosby's giving birth to my kid. This is awesome.
A dream come true.
I really hoped it wasn't David Crosby because it would have been a mess.
Yeah.
No offense, David. But anyway, so yeah, he literally grabbed my daughter, put her up to the thing
no
and
way.
said, this is yours. And then
Yay.
he put her down and grabbed the umbilical cord, looked up and said, hey man, this is your job. I'm doing it for you. And then this is it. You know what I mean? So they were so cool about it. And
That's amazing.
That just goes to show the technology and the fact that, what you miss when you're on the road. And I miss that. But thankfully, I was able to catch it surreally, like it was on the Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was watching. The guys from the band were like, has it happened?
Yeah.
Can I get you something?
Yeah.
Here's some pizza. Like, great. Here's some whiskey. I'm like, great. Watching it like some kind of Tarantino flick.
It's fantastic though that long ago, really, that the hospital was on board to do all that too.
Yeah.
Like, because that was such a cusp
100%.
when it comes to internet and the access and all that. Like, that
100%.
would have been so new to the staff to have to deal with as well.
They didn't know, and so that's why they were kind of, I think, apprehensive, but also let it ride.
Like,
Why not?
yeah, they did it. That's
as
awesome.
long as nothing happens that she's got to go to, complications, then we're going to shut it down. I'm like, I can understand that,
Yep.
but if it's not, if it's just a
yeah,
regular
you want
hip,
the attention where it's supposed to be at that
Yes.
point.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
don't worry
with-
about the laptop. Leave me alone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But again, the nurses were so cool. They're like, "Oh, check this out. You want to see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure.
Yes, please."
I'd love
Yeah.
to see it. I want to be there. I'm not a deadbeat dad. I really do want to be there.
Yeah.
But just
But
didn't
you're
work
also providing for your family. Your
Yeah.
job takes you away. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people do. I mean, yours is a bit different because you're on the road as a musician.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, it's the same as being a truck driver, a
Yeah. 100%.
consultant,
Working in the oil fields.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
There's so
100%.
many families that go through that now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's reality.
it's really cool. And I bet you a lot of dads are probably like, I would have preferred being on camera. Jason would probably be like, you know what, that sounds pretty good, Chris. Yeah.
No, I'd have rather been there, but it was the next best thing for me.
That's super cool. So you got to see everything else though, right? Like you missed teeth, but missing teeth isn't that big a deal. I missed Erin walking for the first time, so if you missed her first steps, don't feel that bad.
No, I got lucky. I
Yeah.
really got lucky because timing-wise, it just seemed like everything kind of happened. And I don't know if Lynn did some kind of magic voodoo to make it happen for me. And God bless her if she did.
Yeah.
She probably did. And for that, I'm thankful. But, most of them, I didn't miss a lot. But I got lucky. And
Yeah.
a lot of my friends are unlucky that way. And like I say, end up in divorce because a lot of, people don't understand that lifestyle. And if you don't, then it's hard for you to kind of get in sync with it. You know what I mean? Even though you're in sync with the person, it doesn't mean that you're in sync with that lifestyle. And unfortunately for me, I got lucky, So she understood the lifestyle. And living it kind of got into it, but still, the initial leaving was hard. And you know, they got into their routines. And that's another thing that, you know, for me being away, it was like everybody got in a routine. So did I, but they got into their thing. And without knowing it, I was pushed out because I wasn't part of the day-to-day. And it wasn't them being specifically like, we hate you and we don't want you part of this. It just, they got into their thing and how they operated their day. So when I came home after being away for a month, I felt like an outsider. Because, and like, again, they weren't doing it on purpose, but it was just that I hadn't fit into I wasn't a piece of their puzzle anymore. You know, and that hurt almost more than leaving, because at least when you were leaving, once you get on the road, you get in your routine, then my headspace is different because I'm working every day. You know what I mean? We're traveling, we're playing, we're loading and doing all the stuff. But, you know, you come home to that and it's like, this is no good, you know?
So how did you work through that?
I just muscled my way in. I'm a stubborn old SOB. I wasn't going to let it change because I lost my father at an early age, and so I wanted to ensure that my daughter had all that she could have from me, just in case something did happen. And plus traveling, I mean, look at these days, I mean, coronavirus and all this stuff, and people getting on planes and dying. You're like, man, oh man, like the possibilities are endless. So for me, it was just like, you're gonna love me.
Yeah.
All of you. And, you know, it would take, you know, a day or two of whatever, just kind of getting in, and then we were all fine. Because, again, Lynn's super hip to it. My daughter, you know, obviously missed me. And, you know, once we got into a little bit of, there's Daddy when I wake up, there's Daddy when I go to bed, he's real. Okay. I don't want to, because even at her age, I think it was like this figment of her imagination. And when I would disappear, I don't think she could grasp the concept that I was like coming back. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know how. It would be interesting to find out. I mean, I don't know if she would remember half that stuff. You know?
It will. I was just thinking that it'll be so fascinating as she gets older to be able to have that conversation and see it from what she remembers.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, I come back to it all the time with my own kids when I'm like, oh my goodness, we're messing them up totally. And then I'm like, okay, what do I remember from when I was that age? I'm like, I remember these 3 snippets from these entire 5 years. Okay, we're probably going to be all right.
Yeah.
I think if I remember yesterday. So.
Yeah. I was told once that we have until they're like 7 to really screw them up, and then after 7 they start to remember things. So I was like, okay, well I'm Aaron, I've still got time.
Oh yeah.
But Sarah, I've got a couple of months left, so we'll see. But it's the same thing. Like my mom always says, like I'm always like, you were such a great, chill, relaxing mom, and she's like, you clearly do not remember your childhood at all, because she's like, I was none of those things. So I mean, I think we just remember what we want to remember, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But to that point, you said you've started to shift things again now that she's getting to this age of remembering.
Yeah.
So what are you shifting into? What does life look like for you guys now?
I don't know, and it's a beautiful thing. For me, just touring the last bunch of years, it just seems such a waste of time for me because I was doing a lot of gigs out west. It would take for one gig, you know, I was home all week. You know, it's kind of this weird toss-up, being away for a month or being gone every weekend. Well, after a while, for me, the month and being done with it was almost better than being away every weekend, because it was like I'd leave on a Thursday, play a gig on a Friday, come back on a Saturday. But the Thursday and Saturday were complete wastes of days in an airport. Like, seriously, just sitting and waiting all day for delayed flights and everything else. So I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me to do it anymore. It's not making me happy. I can make as much money home and be home. You know, some of the gigs I do, playing Brown Eyed Girl 3 nights a week isn't as glamorous as playing, you know, the Olympia in Paris. But I close my guitar case, I go home to my wife and my daughter. Next morning I wake up, I'm with them. They go to bed, I go to work. Great gig.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For at least right now. And I mean, I've been spending the last 12 to 15 years working for other people. I kind of lost sight of my own stuff and who I am and what I want to do. So that's what I'm making the shift this year, is more prevalent, to be focused on my family and me and finding myself again and what I want to be as a musician and as a dad and as a husband and all those things.
Well, I think it's true too, and especially now that she's in school, and they start having after-school lives, which is super weird.
Oh,
But,
100%.
Yeah, you should
It's
see our
poopy.
calendar at home right now.
But that's the thing. But you're there, like you pick her up every day after school, and I don't know if you're the one that takes her to school in the morning.
The
like,
good playgrounds.
you do know
Oh, yeah,
all the
I
good
do.
playgrounds. Yeah.
And we're always on the bikes, and we're always, trying to, build those memories. Because again, don't know how long. And like I said, when I was touring, I had to make up for all that time away.
Yeah, I remember. Well, and we even said it to Lynn when Lynn was on. Like, I've never met a dad as hands-on as you are. It's unbelievable. And I think you would have been that way even if you weren't touring or anything like
Oh, yeah.
that. Like, I think that.
No, it's obviously part of your personality.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
I've
yeah.
always wanted kids. I love kids. I'd like to have like 30 of them if I could.
Well, the one day that we were all at the playground,
Yeah.
you walked off and they just all followed you like a Pied Piper. There
Yes,
was like
like
5
little
of them
ducks.
following you, I
Yeah.
think, down the road.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't
See
know.
ya. Chris is going. We're going.
It's,
See ya.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
a weird thing. I know it on the school playground. I get random hugs from kids I don't know. I'm like, okay, bud. You're okay. I don't know. Is this legal?
Yeah.
Sorry, heads up.
Yeah. Let them hug you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Wiggles pictures.
Yeah. Wiggles
Right?
pictures.
So
Yeah.
you can see all their hands in every
That's right.
picture.
Every hand. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, someone's
Oh, yeah.
hand's missing.
Oh, yeah. No, you
No.
got to be able to see all the hands and all the pictures.
That makes
Before we wrap up the show, you did mention that you do 3 gigs a week. So where can people find you?
I'm at St. James Gate downtown Sundays and Wednesdays from 9 until 9 until 12, and then on Fridays I'm at the Fox Creek location from 7 to 10, and then random other gigs.
Yeah.
But most of those are my house ones.
And if perchance there are people listening to us who don't know your music, where can they go online to find you?
Colepaugh.com, Colepaugh, and that'll get you Spotify's, Apple, all those things. My music's there.
He's got some new music
and-
out too.
Yeah.
And there are like actual physical CDs out there.
They sort of is. Come
Yeah,
see me.
yeah,
I
I
got
have
some in
some
my
in my
van down by
house.
the river. No kidding. It's real. I laughed at that, but it was real.
All right, Chris, thanks for coming in, especially so like spur of the moment.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thank you guys for listening, for watching, for however you are consuming this media. We appreciate it. And if you enjoy it, please share it. Please review it. 5-star reviews make my children very happy. And
Mine
I say
too.
that honestly. I pulled up our podcast the other day and Clara was looking over my shoulder. She's like, "You have a 5-star review?" Like, why, yes, we do.
Yeah.
We have a few of them and we'd love more.
We would. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. If you ever have any show ideas too, let us know. You can contact us through either one of our pages.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.